My name is Bill Venners, company Artima, and title is I'm the president. I run the company, and I live in Walnut Creek, California, which is east of San Francisco, not too far from here. You know, what I'm building is a company, kind of, because I do management, and we do consulting, so we have people in different places, and there is one client I help with, but I'm supposed to just do management, but I do look at code and think about it and talk about it and give my opinion. And then the source code that I actually get to build is open source, so I'm still working on ScalaTest, so it's open source software. What's really cool about, I guess, like the difference there is you get paid to do like client work. That's cool, but open source you get to actually, I think, have a larger effect on the world. Like you can really try new things and see if people like it, and really actually make the world of programming better through open source things you give away. And I see it kind of as a way to do volunteer work. It's a way to give back. So that's really neat to have both of those. Like there's a way to make money in software, but there's also a way to make a difference in the large open source. You mean, are those 3 tracks at this conference? Because they're called data, reactive, and something functional, yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I think I like all of them. But what I thought what really struck me that was interesting was new things. Like there was some talks on quantum computing, which is like so different. I want to go see. I couldn't go watch the first one because we were giving our talk during that time, but I'm going to go see the next one. And then there's one on programmable money, like blockchain kind of stuff. So that's kind of what's interesting. It's not just one of those categories, but what's the latest and what's new. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what our talk was about. Effective Scala is just a 40-minute opinionated talk on best practices in Scala. So that talk is, in theory, a book coming that we're going to write, which we haven't really started, but we did create a workshop. So we give this 2-day Effective Scala workshop, which is 2 days of best practice that, I think after 10 years of experience with Scala, which I have over 10 years now, the community and we have formed opinions on what is a better way to use it. So that's what we do with Effective Scala. Probably more functional, hardcore functional things. I don't think, because we had to miss the first 2 days of this conference because we were doing a training, but and there wasn't too much on the schedule today. But that's what I haven't gone that far in that, haven't jumped off that. It's not a cliff, but like diving board into the. So I'm kind of interested in those. Basically, it's new things to me. That's what I'm interested in learning about best practices as well. Okay, it definitely changed my life, or I changed my life to it or something, because I started in 2007 working on the Scala book with Martin Odersky and Lex Spoon, and then because they knew Scala pretty well, Martin, of course, wrote Scala, and then Lex was in his group, at his school. It was a PhD I think it was a postdoc there. But I didn't know it, and so I started writing the ScalaTest just to get some experience with Scala, and then that took over my life. So I spent my whole all my free time is now doing this open source project, and then I do Scala consulting, so I make a living that way. So it really did change my life in a great way. And then what's really nice is the community has been really fun to be a part of, because it's lots of different people with different perspectives, trying different things, coming together at conferences like this and sharing and arguing. And that's really been very stimulating, and it's still stimulating. One time I heard like this was years ago, someone say that Scala's still a small enough community to such that its conferences are still interesting. So for the next 15 years, I hope that stays true. Scala always tried to balance. It always tried to balance like something that can be practical to use in production, something for real, with let's try to move the art forward and make things better. So that's like the whole way that Scala 3 has kind of been, Martin went off a few years back and just said, I'm going to try to make the type system simpler. I'm going to try to get a theoretical foundation that proves the type system is sound. He's going to do all this stuff off to the side, and now we're trying to bring it together in a way that actually Scala's user base, which is pretty large now, can actually migrate to. And I think one other thing I would mention that I think was neat is originally, like one of the things we talked about in our talk is that Scala's not just, it wasn't originally designed to be a Haskell on the JVM. And some people who came from that world really wanted to just use it that way, and it was flexible enough to be used that way. And that was always kind of one of the passions in our community was like, this. Well, I was trying not to say tensions, but there's this kind of like, want to do it this way, we want to do it that way kind of thing. But what Scala 3, what happened is everybody kind of stayed together, and now Scala 3, there's a lot of things going into it that to make sure that also works, so that's still inclusive. And so that's what I'm hoping, that we can keep both of those things going, that we care about it being used in the real world projects, but we still move the art forward, and we actually are including different people's perspectives and making sure they're taken care of.
What would you tell us?
Oh, it's Scale by the Bay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I always like the seeing the people, but I've known people in this community for a long time. So, it's just I enjoy coming over here. I wish I could have come all 3 days. This year I couldn't, but yeah, it's a great conference. And I don't know, what's different about it? There's booths there, but they're interesting people too. It's not like a marketing commercially thing. It's really programmers getting together and talking. So I think that's what I guess I'd describe it as. This one, it's nice like that.